everybody, welcome to your elbow myofascial release class. In this class we are going to release the hands, the forearms, the tricep on the outer arm and the outer shoulder and side ribs. So we're including the side ribs and the shoulders because from my experience when I have worked with people with elbow pain, if it is coming from a postural base or relating to a larger fascial pattern in the body, that it tends to manifest in people with internally rotated shoulders. So that usually is to do with tight subscapularis. It could also be tight pecs, so creating flexion. But sometimes there's extension in the spine, so there's actually quite a lift through the sternum, but the shoulders are still rolling in. So that seems to be embodying a psychological attitude where the person is saying, okay, I'm up for it, but internally they're like feeling actually quite closed emotionally on a deeper level. And so this would involve in the mobility work starting to do more external rotator cuffs to strengthen the back of the rotator cuff, and also possibly the chest release as well. With that, if there is slumping, so it can be related to upper cross syndrome, slumping, or just as I say, a rotator cuff imbalance. So let us start. Just before we start as well, just to mention, it could also be linked to what's called golfer's elbow, so epicondylitis, and that is inflammation of the tendons at the elbow. And so this is a tendinopathy, again, that could be related to exactly what I was saying, if we look at it more somatically, these, epicondylitis can appear out of nowhere. It can be one of these unexplained pains. It doesn't have to be a direct trauma to the elbow itself, or anything to do with golfing, even though epicondylitis is also called golfer's elbow. So it might be nothing to do with golfing. It could just be related to other postural dysfunctions, which manifest through the fascia and the muscles. Okay, so let us start with a body scan. You can lie on your back. And you can take your awareness down into your body. Notice if your feet feel like they are turning out to the corners of the room evenly. Notice if your calves feel evenly weighted. Notice if your hamstrings at the back of the thigh feel like they're gently touching the ground, or if they're floating or hovering off the ground. Notice if the weight on your pelvis is heavy on your tail or evenly distributed through your buttocks. Notice if the arch of the lumbar feels larger above or below the navel. Notice if your base ribs feel grounded down. Notice if the weight of the scapula feels even from right to left, top to bottom. Notice if your shoulders float lightly off the ground or feel heavily weighted down. Notice if your arms feel evenly weighted. Notice if the back of the neck feels compressed or spacious. Notice if the weight feels like on the head feels like it is behind the bridge of the nose or is tipping up or down. Draw a line through the center of your body using the spine as a guide. Checking in with how stress and your emotions, deeper held emotions, feel in relation to your fascial body today as they express themselves through your proprioception and nervous system response. When you're ready, you can draw your heels into your bum and come up to a seat. So we're going to start with the shoulder. You can take your roller onto the base of the scapula. Interlock your hands behind the head, weight your feet, lengthen your tailbone into your core. Lift your hips up and start to glide over the scapula. Take your bum down when you're ready, and then side bend over to the left. Back to center, side bend over to the right. Back to center. From here, you can roll onto the outer left hip. Take your left hand to your left ear. Take your roller somewhere around the center of your ribs. And moving from your waist, create a glide on the side ribs. But with the hand on the ear, not only on the side ribs, you'll also be targeting your tricep and your posterior deltoid. And then from here, come back to center on the base of the scapula, and you can take it to the other side. So if you feel more tension on the arm, just lean into the arm more. If you feel more tension on the ribs, you can lean into the ribs more, so compressing the areas that feel most sensation. And then from here you can stay on the right side. Hold the outer right ear with the left hand and take your your right arm up, placing your roller in a place that feels compressed, and just start to internally rotate and externally rotate the arm. So this is going to help release the subscapularis, the internal rotator, and also strengthen the external rotators as you deepen your external rotation. Remember here from your myofascial theory in relation to the arm line, your external rotator cuff muscles are connected to your rhomboids in between your shoulder blades. So as you roll the palm skyward and even take your thumb down towards the ground, you should also feel your scapula retract in towards the spine. Good. And then tipping over to the other side. Holding the outer left ear, so choosing a place on the side ribs and starting to internally and externally rotate the arm. Helping to bring balance to the rotator cuff muscles by strengthening the external rotators and releasing the internal. And freeing up any adhesions that are restricting the scapula movements, creating any imbalances through the glenohumeral joint, which may express themselves down the train through the arm and the elbow. And then from here, come back to center, and you can roll up to a seat. And now for our hand mat. So you can take a block if you want to use it as your rolling table, and you can take your ball. So I have the gels, which are specifically for hands. I also have another really soft hand ball. Sometimes like children's balls, like children's toys and stuff, you may get little soft balls like this. But you can see both have quite a lot of bounce. If you were using a ball like this, I'd just be gentle, especially if sometimes the hands, they're not that muscly, they do a lot of work and the muscles fatigue. If you have big, thick, muscly hands, it's fine to use a big, thick ball, but really softer balls tend to work better. So let us start off with our grip assess. I'm going to use my gel, so right hand, left hand. Yeah, and you can just go from either, and just feeling, and not just into the strength of your grip from your hands, but how that expresses itself through your forearms, Your wrist flexors at the back of the forearm, wrist extensors at the front. It'll be really, we're activating the back of the forearm here with our grip. And of course the muscles here, your wrist flexors are all connected into the elbow. So it is giving you information about that as well. You can take your ball down and take your elbows and wrists together. And now drop your hands out to the side to make your capital T. And then just noticing the position of your hands and any sensations you're feeling in your wrists, arms or shoulders as you assess the capacity for your wrist to extend. Good. And then you can take your hands together. So from here, we will start with our compression. So you can take a ball onto your table and take your right hand right into the P1, the center of your hand. Now I'd like you to relax your shoulder, your side neck, your arm and your hand, and we'll be using the strength of the left arm to compress. So you can press your left hand into your right and lean in, inhale, and then exhale. And then come away, come to base of your index, 2A, compress, keeping your right arm relaxed, inhale, and exhale. 2B at the base of your middle finger, compress, inhale, exhale. Ring finger, compress, inhale, exhale. And pinky, compress, inhale, and exhale. So if you have epicondylitis and if there is tingling in the fingers relating to this epicondylitis in the elbow and the tendons of the elbow, it would usually express itself in the ring and the pinky finger. So you may feel more tension on those as you compress. Now to P4 at the pad of your thumb, pressing down, relaxing your arm. Inhale, exhale. And then left side on your pinky side, just forward of the wrist, pressing down, relax the arm, inhale. And exhale. Good, and now to the other side, taking the ball into the center, pressing down. Relax your left arm, use your right arm for strength, inhale. Exhale. To the base of your index, 2A, press down, relax the left arm, inhale. Exhale. Base of the middle finger, press down, inhale. Exhale. Base of the index, press down, inhale. Exhale. Base of pinky, press down, inhale, exhale. And pad of your thumb, pressing down, inhaling, and exhaling. And pinky side just forward of your wrist, press down, inhale, and exhale. And now come back to the first side. I'm taking your ball here at the base of your hand, and we're going to just start with the glide. So with the glide, the hand is in the air, and you can just roll from side to side. Good. And then on the left side, again, fingers in the air. So your ball and your hand is moving at the same time. Good, and now we bring it to a shear. So back to the same place, but this time your fingers are weighted and gripping down, and you're going to move side to side. And if you wish, you can weight that with the opposite hand just to help you relax the arm, the hand you're shearing, and the arm of the hand you're shearing. Good, and then other side, press down, and then keeping the fingers weighted down and a little bit gripped. Good. Then taking your ball up, and again taking the ball to the pad of your thumbs and just rolling your hands, creating a shear. And then an indirect shear, so holding the ball at the base of your thumbs, compress, and then start to make thumb movements. Good. And then from here, you can start to flush it out. So keeping your ball at starting at the fingers and then moving it up to the wrist, on the other side. And then back to the first hand, and just starting to work on the lateral ridge of your hand here. So you can just create a little glide with the palm facing in, and just a bit of forward and back. And then to the other side. And if you wish, you could even compress that hand to also help to weight it more, but hold the hand to help you compress or weight it more, but also to steady its position on the ball if you wish. Good. And then you can take your ball, especially if it's a nice soft one like mine here, and just rinse the top of your hand. Good, and then other side. Good. Nice, and then come back into your wrist assess. Good. Okay, and now we'll move from the hands and we will go on to the forearms. So from here you can take your ball to the back of your base and then just take it onto your hand and at the base of the hand, and then just roll it this time now down towards the elbow, or even maybe actually be better on the ground. Rolling it all the way up to the elbow, nice and slow, creating your glide. And you can go from the out, so you can just feel it out. You have a few lines there. So the outer elbow here is what's called the ulnar ridge. And then you can work all the way onto the back of the forearm towards the inside compartment of the forearm, or the medial border. Good, and then to the other side. Okay, and let's take it to the front of the arm, to the forearm extensors. So turning the palm up, and the same thing. Now, if you're using the soft gels, you may find that they don't roll so evenly because they're not an actual ball, they're like an egg shape. So what you could do is you could, if I use the gel for this side, well, in the next round we're going to be holding the forearm. But even here, you can get a little bit of compression. You may actually, rather for these glides, it might be better for you if you don't have the little small one I have, is to just work with a larger ball. And you can just weight it accordingly. Good. Okay, so now we're going to do move from a glide to a shear. So that just means your fingers are clawing into the ground and you're just rolling forward and back a few inches. And just that you're using the hands to control, and if you wish you can weight it. You can also make circles or you can do side to side movements. And you can go quite into the elbow, especially if you are working with a small ball. There's no need to go into the joint, you really are just targeting the forearm. And then change it to the other side. So you can do forward and back, circles or side to side. So if you're doing the side to side, you'll be doing a bit of cross friction because the muscle fibers are running longitudinally. And sometimes it's nice to go with the grain of the muscle fiber, but then to go against the grain is also good for helping to release adhesions. Good. And then from here, we'll do an indirect shear. So you're going to need your brick for this. So taking your ball and then just pressing it on an area that feels a little bit tender for you, and then you can weight it with the other arm or forearm and then start to make circles with your hands. Changing direction. And then if you wish, you can just make finger curls as well. So this is like fist, when you fist and curl, you're compressing these wrist flexors. So you can do that one finger at a time, or you can do full fists and compress and extend. Or it's circles in a fist, so you can start with your circles with the fingers open and then fist the circles or do flexion extension. Good, and you can do that indirect shear. The indirect shear is actually quite effective if you do have a build-up of tension in the forearm, especially relating to typing, etc. And you can do it all the way down. Just be careful of the veins here at the very back of the wrist, but other than that, you can do it all the way down. So you could find 2 or 3 or 4 spots here. I'm going to move to the other side. So again, just do a little bit of rolling, find a spot that feels like it needs it. Good, and then wait, and then start to make circles, extend, flex. Good, and then release. Okay, so from here, just coming back to your grip. Right hand, left hand. My left hand was my weaker and it's now feeling a lot stronger from that wrist flexor release on the left side. You may have a similar or different result. Good. Good, very good. So from here you can just come back and just create some extension and flexion in your elbows, and just feel into how that feels. If you have elbow issues, maybe there is a greater sense of ease through your arms. And as I say, the release is part of it, you know, releasing these muscles, and the hand for sure, a little bit on the shoulder. But with elbows, I think there can be, you know, the other side of the myofascial reset is to strengthen, you know, the muscles, the tricep, the external rotators, and maybe, so combining this with the mobility will hopefully create the right muscle balance for any epicondylitis to heal itself. Because tendons do heal, you know, inflammation will go down, tendons do heal for anybody working with elbow issues. Hope you enjoyed the video. Namaste.